Hi, this is Kitty with Family-H MSD Girl Body Review. So, I've never really done a body review before. This is my first one, as well as my first time doing a video on webcam. But I guess I will just jump right into this. So first of all, this is Blythe. This is what I call her, and I'll start with the head. Yes. This is the Shein model of head. I'm not sure if it said Shein or Sheon, so just forgive me for that. And so, turning her around, you see the back part is really bald. But, the one thing about her that I actually really do like is that the inside of her head is like, it would seem as a standard magnet locking mechanism. But rather than just locking, she actually has this little hook, I guess is what you call it, inside of her head that you actually just kind of shove up in there and then it locks on its own. But as you'll notice with a lot of doll companies, they actually cast their logo on the outside of the head right there with like a big plate or something. Which can look really horrendous when you have a bald doll. When you have your doll being bald. So you can see that Doll Family-H actually cast that into the inside of the head rather than outside, which is great so it doesn't look so horrible. And there's not a huge seam. In fact, it's hardly noticeable when you put it on her head cap, which is great. So next we'll go to the hands. Let's see if I can get her to... It is 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. Upper arm, elbow, part thingy, and arm and hand. Okay, so she is double jointed. I forgot to mention that earlier, which is pretty nice. The shoulder joint can go like that. The only thing is that it's only got that one little thing, which is very standard, so she can't like go very far in other directions other than just kind of like that. And she also does that quite a bit. So as far as she can go down, I think that's about where she can hold it in this particular position of the arm. I think maybe she can go a little bit lower without doing, yeah, I don't think so. And so, if you want her to go higher or like raise her hand all the way, you have to go and turn it and actually have her raise it. Which I like and dislike, because it does look a little bit more realistic, but it's more difficult for posing. So, moving on to the double jointed elbow joint. It's pretty standard. It does not have a little nub, which bothers the living crap out of me, and I'll tell you why later, but, yeah, she does have a little double jointing right there. And here is her standard version without using the double joint. That's about her not standard, I guess is the word. And she can go like that. She cannot actually go like this without having to force it like I was just trying to do. She'll only go about that far though when you force it, which I do not recommend doing. So, hand. Hand is just really standard. Let's see if I can hold her up with that actually. If you pull it, she's got a little S hook in there with a hook that's really, really deeply cast into the hand. So the actual loop is really, really far into the hand and it's really, really narrow, the part that is. So it's kind of difficult to get on and off the S hooks. I always have trouble with them, with trying to at least work them in. So this is her lovely sculpt, I guess. She's a standard 2-part torso. She can go backwards pretty far, but you do get that weird little gap, which isn't too bad when she's wearing a shirt or something, but it is kind of noticeable when she's naked. And so she can twist from side to side pretty drastically, but you still, again, in certain positions get that huge gap. She cannot go forward without you actually lifting up and forcing her forward, which if you do that though, it can often chip the resin, as mine has, and you can also get that weird gap showing the string, which is dreadful. So we wouldn't want that, would we? So her sculpt is obviously very great. My only gripe about her sculpt is her boobies are a little bit small for my taste, but oh well. And she does have sculpting downstairs, if you get my drift, which is realistic, but it can look a little odd if you look at it on your own doll, because I'm going to show it. It does look rather odd. So moving on to the leg here. Again, double jointed. 5 parts. They put an extra part on the leg. So where I'm holding it right now, you won't be able to see it because again I'm holding it. But let's see if I can ever do that. So you've got this thigh piece right here. I mean hip, not thigh, and then knee, which has a little knob, which I thoroughly love, and then lower leg, I guess, and foot. So the hip piece actually has these weird little notches, which are both a blessing and a curse. As you can see, there's, I hope you can see at least, there's these little holes in there. They actually just kind of snap right into a lock. Well, as I said, that can be a blessing and a curse because often you will find that she'll be randomly sitting down and all of a sudden you'll look over and she'll be like that and you'll be like, oh, wait, how'd that happen? But yeah, that looks really unnatural unless you're wearing like a longer skirt that actually covers all of that, which can get really annoying. So yeah, if you move a little bit farther down, this is just very standard piecing. It's what attaches the rest to hip joint, I guess. So next, here's how it looks with the little nub unlike the elbows have, which it looks alright, not exactly human, but it does look more human, I guess, than the elbow, which is nice. I honestly wish they actually curved a dip into it rather than curving out like an actual natural knee would be, which is kind of not necessarily ugly, but it doesn't look as natural on wear. And it does have these weird little lumping on the back, is what I like to call it, and it looks really unnatural, at least in my opinion. And with pants, it kind of bulges a little bit from what I can tell. And it's, again, double jointed. So yeah, moving on to the feet. Feet are the same mechanism as hand, where, I know, don't ever dangle your doll like this, don't comment saying that. But she does have the same as her hand. It's kind of like the S-hook with the really deeply cast, excuse me, Mom, the deeply cast ring, so that it's very, very difficult to kind of pose her. I mean, not pose her, get that hook through the loop, which can be very annoying when you're restringing, which I really hate. Okay, so my overall review. Okay, there's something I forgot to mention earlier. You know, start this video, I've been kind of struggling to keep her legs straight. Well, you'll, as I said before, you'll look over and she'll just be in random poses sometimes. It's really odd. I don't know if it's just my doll, but she really, really easily will lift her leg, not so easily keeping it down. So, like, I'm gonna slice tap triple like that. But at the same time, her knees do something a little bit similar, where they kind of just will be sitting like that. But when you do sit her legs go really in other directions, and I haven't found a way to keep them from doing that, which looks really odd when you're trying to pose her. Other than that, though, I thoroughly love her and enjoy her, and she is definitely one of my favorites. So yeah, I mean, I would recommend the doll Family-H, but I'd recommend doing your research before you decide on a doll Family-H. Especially because when I first got her, I didn't know anything. She was actually my first. And the thing is, I fell in love with the face, but I didn't really look much into bodies. And like, a few months later, I ended up finding a different brand of bodies that I was in love with and was like, oh, why didn't I get that one? So yeah, that can happen a lot, so just be careful with that. So I'm pretty sure that's about it. I'll give you some looks at her sculpt for right now. And this has been Kitty with Doll Family-H MSD Girl. And